you today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. So you're here to talk about a talent that you have, and yours is with special effects makeup.
Yeah.
So what got you interested in doing special effects makeup?
I think growing up, like watching horror films and stuff, you're always like really intrigued by it. And as I got older, I realised that it wasn't real, and I always wanted to know how it was done. So I researched into courses at colleges, and just went for it.
Okay, so what course do you study at college?
At the moment, I study theatrical media makeup.
Okay, so what does that include? What's involved in the course?
It's a bit of everything really. It's dramatic makeups, gory makeups you see in films, exaggerated makeup you see for theatre. It's a bit of everything really, but my specialty is definitely more the gory side of it.
Okay, is that what you enjoy the most?
Yeah.
Okay,
definitely.
so what are you going to do once you've left college?
I'm going to uni to carry on with this course.
Okay, so have you got into uni then?
Yeah.
Okay, so what was the process like? Did you have to take them like a load of your work to show them, and were they impressed with it?
Yeah, we had to apply for a UCAS, and then they chose if they wanted to give you an interview or not. And I got an interview, and they wanted you to bring your portfolio with all your work in and any other thing that you wanted to show really. So I put all my work in my portfolio, and I took a long time making it perfect because I really wanted to get in. And yeah,
I imagine it would with something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And then they looked at it and they asked me to talk about pieces of my work, and then they got back to me and they offered me a place.
Well, congratulations with that. Okay, so now we're going to quickly cut to a short tutorial of Zoe showing you how to do a cut on your hand.
This is Mortician's wax, and it comes in a pot like this, but it's very hard in here, so you have to warm it up with the temperature of your hands. So if you sort of roll it into sort of like a sausage shape, create the shape that you want your cut to be. I'm going to go for a sort of round, long one. And then you place it on the hand, push it down a bit, and get your red sculpting tool, and you blend the edges as smooth as you can so they sort of blend into the skin. So once you're happy with your smoothed out edges, you take your other tool and then you cut where you want your cut to be. So I'm just going to go for a cut right down the middle. And then you push the wax open, so this sort of looks like this is your skin opening. Make it all choppy and nasty to give it some texture. So that's my open abrase. And then you take your character palette and your stipple sponge, and I'm going to go with this reddy colour just to sort of make it look like it's a little bit swollen, and just gently pat that on my wax. And this also covers the join. I know you couldn't really see the join, but this sort of just covers it and camouflages it a little bit and makes it look a bit swollen, and sort of these little holes give it texture, so it doesn't just look like you've just painted red on your hand. It sort of gives it a texture, and if you sort of go around the edges it sort of blends out a bit. So as you can see, it sort of just looks like my hand's a bit swollen. And then I'm going to go in with this dark brown colour on my brush, and I'm going to put that on the edges inside my cut. This sort of gives it more depth and makes it look a bit more 3D. If you don't really go in with a darker colour, sometimes your cut can look a bit flat and it won't really look that realistic. So if you see now, it looks a bit more deeper than it did before. You don't want to put too much on, but that's that. And then for the fun part, you go in with your blood. Now I'm using the gel blood because this is my favourite, but there are other types of blood. You can have runny blood, squirty blood, you name it. You take a cotton bud and just sort of pat that in. Put it how you want, so I'm going to have mine sort of dripping out of the cut bit. And if you sort of make it really messy so it looks like it's splurging over the edges of your skin. And you can leave it at that, which is just, you know, basic cut, skin. Or if you wanted, if it's an old cut, you could add a little bit of bruising. I won't add a lot of bruising, but I'm going to go in with this purpley colour just on my finger and just dab a little bit in the areas to give it sort of more of an impact. You usually put the bruising on the bone area, so there's a bone going along here, so if you sort of very lightly, you don't want it to look too overpowering and fake. Take a clean brush, go in with a little bit of blue and put that on the bit where your skin is coming apart. This will give it a bit more depth and definition, a little bit of the darker blue. An older bruise, you'd go in more with the yellow and the greens. That will give it more of an old one. But this is quite a fresh cut and bruise, so you want to go in with the purples and the blues. A little bit more of the red around here to give it more of an impact. And that's it. It's very basic cut, but it can look effective.
Okay, so thank you very much for showing us how you do that. It's really interesting actually seeing how it's done in person. Okay, so was all this special effects, makeup and stuff really hard for you at first when you first started doing it all?
I think at first, obviously, it was very challenging because, you know, you're going into something that you don't know how to do and you have to pick it up. But I think the more you do it, like practice makes perfect, and the more I've done it, the more easier I found it. And yeah,
I imagine it's because something you enjoy as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're gonna like doing it every day.
Exactly.
Okay, so what's your favourite type of special effects you like to do?
Well, I do like to challenge myself, so I would say I like applying the prosthetic pieces because you have to make them from scratch and then apply it, and I really enjoy doing that, seeing it all come together.
So like making them yourself, do you feel like it's more of your own work and like
definitely.
Designing it all makes it different to everyone else's?
Exactly.
Okay, so does like the special effects, like the prosthetics and like the cuts and bruises that you do you feel like when you learn something new it can be easier, or do you think some things are like really difficult and like take a long time to get used to?
Well, the first time you do it, obviously, you know, you find out what works and what doesn't work, so the next time you go to do it you can sort of do it quicker, you know, to cut out the stuff you didn't like, or you just can go straight into what went well, so you can definitely work quicker and it will come out the best you can do it.
Okay, so what would you say is the easiest material you've worked with and what's the most difficult one you've worked with?
Well, as you saw in the tutorial, the wax, it does look pretty easy to work with. It only really works on small like abrasions or cuts, because if you use it for something big it can crack, and where your skin heats up and sweats it will just come off and it will just look fake. So that can sort of be a bit of both, like it can be easy but it can be hard. I think all special effects is the same really. It's what you put into it that...
Do you think if you spend more time applying something and like doing it will like come out better and it will be easier, but it will take a longer time to do, obviously?
Yeah, the first time I put a prosthetic piece on it was just really hard to disguise the joint, but you can't just give up, you have to keep working with it, keep troubleshooting it, and then it will come out how you want it to.
Okay, so what are your best projects or your favourite projects that you've worked on that you've enjoyed doing?
I done a Freddy Krueger, which I really liked, and that was working with Burns. So I sort of put my own spin on it. I done the film Freddy Krueger, him, and a burn victim. So I sort of put it together, come up with a design, and I was really proud of
So
how
do you
it
do
looked.
that a lot, like merging two different
Yeah,
things together?
I don't really like copying someone's exact work. I like to sort of make it my own, and I think that's something that's important in this industry.
Yeah, like not because then everything will be the
Yeah,
same.
exactly.
Okay, so when you first started doing this course at college and now you're going into uni, did you know this was the career that you wanted to do when you were older, or was it just like something you thought you'd do and then?
I think
maybe
when
you'd
I
like it?
first went into college, I wanted to do like the pretty side of makeup, like all bridal and all the nice side of it. But when
Was that like the first half of
yeah,
your course?
that was the first year I done, which was media makeup, and I enjoyed it, but not as much as I thought I would. I was a bit disappointed because I wasn't putting all of my effort into it. I was a bit bored of it. And then going on to theatrical, I was sort of expecting the same. I thought I wouldn't, you know. But going on to it, I've really enjoyed it, and it's made me realise how much I want to do it as a career.
Okay, well, good luck in the future, and I hope
Thank you.
you do the best at uni and everything. And yeah, thank you very much for talking to me.
Thanks, Danielle.